Now it's time for us to start looking at a different side of Android, which is very exciting if you ask me. This side is location and maps. So it's really nice to be able to finally use our devices to their fullest potential, which is being able to show maps as well as location. Android devices are really amazing. They're so amazing to where they can see the world pretty much the way we see the world. Not necessarily the way we see it, but at least in terms of finding locations and knowing where the phone or knowing where things are in the world. They are very good at using all of the resources that they have, like GPSs and locations and so forth, right? So that is one of the best things about our devices, because we're able to do all of those things, right? We can use our devices to pin down locations of the device, which means location of where we are, because we tend to have our devices with us all the time. But we can also pinpoint exactly anywhere in the world and find the coordinates and then pinpoint them on the map, so we can see where in the world a certain item is, or any device that would broadcast the GPS coordinates and so forth. So there's a lot of things that we can do with maps and location. So internally in Android, we would need classes that would help us to leverage and invoke location and maps and so forth, right? Since the beginning of Android devices were shipped with all the things that they needed to know in order to be able to track location and show maps and so forth. So all of these classes in the form of a library were exposed for us developers to be able to tackle in and start using them. But because there's a lot of work that developers needed to do to get things to actually work properly, because remember, as we try to figure out the location of a person, we are doing all sort of things, right? Connecting to Wi-Fi, connecting to GPS towers, and all sort of things that we had to control in our code, in our devices. And even then, we wouldn't be guaranteed that things would actually work accurately. Okay, so there's a lot of setting up that needs to be done in order to have a very accurate as well as memory frugal applications when we're talking about maps and geolocation. And so that's when Google decided to take all of that code, take all of those classes, all of that package responsible for maps, geolocation, location, and so forth, and put it all attached to Google Play service. So in this case here, now we have all of that inside of what we call an API. So Google Play service is essentially an API that allows us to tap into maps, location, geolocation, and so forth. But that is now attached with the Google Play, a place where you can find free and paid Android apps so you can download onto your phone and start using them. That allowed the defragmentation, if you will, of those APIs. But there's a lot of moving parts, as I said before, when it comes to geolocation maps. Naturally, for us to be able to leverage our API, our maps and location, geolocation API, we have to have Google Play service on our phones. So any phone you buy would have Google Play services installed in them, right? So, but now because in this course here, I will be primarily using an emulator, we will have to make sure that our emulator has the Google Play services installed. That way, we're able to invoke the map API and location and so forth. All right, so enough talking. Let's go ahead and dive in and start setting things up so we can hopefully start looking at location and maps.